Well, fellas. Good morning. I'm feeling good today. I'm excited to take on the PokeMMO world. We have two main tasks for today, okay? Today, I'm probably mostly going to be shunting, but my second main task is going to be, final raid prep, okay? Yesterday, we finished up Sableye to make sure it was prepared for Heatran. Today is the final raid prep day for the Heatran raid. Here is what I'm working with. If you haven't seen the poke paste before, this is the details, the information I am using for Heatran, the strategy that I am personally using. I will be attempting Heatran tomorrow. If you want to watch, if you want to laugh at me, if you want to help me out, maybe I need people to team up with, I'm going to be trying to attempt to do Heatran tomorrow. It's kind of last minute. I don't know if I'll be able to get a team. I don't know if I'll be able to beat the raid. It's the most difficult PVM challenge in the game. Think of it as the infernal cape comparatively to RuneScape of PokeMMO. It's very, very tough, and I don't know if I'll be able to beat it, but you got to start somewhere, and it's okay to make some attempts and just see what happens. So we need to, first things first, finish off the Pokemon that I'm working on today. A few of these things just need moves. Like, I believe this Flygon, I perfectly EV trained it. It's good in correlation to the, you can see the poke paste over to the left. I think it just needs Defog. So that's a really, really easy one. We need to head over to Sinnoh and teach it Defog. There's certain things like, I think my Politoed needs Weather Ball. Let's go check. Yeah, this needs Weather Ball. There's a few things we're going to go step by step. And then after that, I'll go Shiny Hunt. So let's just jump into it. First things first, I'm going to head over to Sinnoh and teach the Flygon Defog, because that'll just complete it. We could put it back in the box and not have to worry about it. Step by step, fellas. Here's someone actually asked, and I get this question all the time, should I come back to PokeMMO? It's haven't played in a while. It's been a while. And my answer is always the same. Obviously, I think it's always a good time to come back, especially right now. There's so many new players coming in. It's always a good time to come back in the market and stuff for the most part. I usually qualify if it's not. But PokeMMO isn't for everybody, number one. And number two, it's not always the vibe, kind of the same thing. And then number three, you got it. I think goals. It comes down to goals. When I quit the game from 2016 to 2021-ish, right? I would log on every year or so or every few months because I loved the game and I had a bunch of hours into it. And I would log in and I would just be like, look at my Pokemon, look over my account and be like, is there anything I want to do right now? And most of the time it was no. And I would just log off, right? And you really just have to wait for the day where you're like, you know what? EV training sounds fun. You know what? Doing this thing sounds fun. If PokeMMO's not fun, I don't think you should force it. However, there are ways to enjoy it if you're not enjoying it. It's a balancing act and finding what worked best for you. I always say, like, taking breaks is good. But also sometimes I think the biggest problem in Pokemon that most people have is setting goals. The number one tip I can recommend to help you set goals. It's my favorite video I've ever made. Not my most popular, but my personal favorite video. It's called 63 Things to Do in PokeMMO. 63 things to do. That is my favorite video I've ever made because I feel like it addresses the most important problem in PokeMMO, which is goals and achievements and direction, which the game does not give you. You have to kind of make on your own. And this video is fully dedicated towards helping you create your own goals that work for your account and what you enjoy. So 63 things to do. Try to create some goals. If you do that and you have a notepad list of goals and none of them sound fun, then it's time to take that break. Take that break, King. Might be a no fun question or even an already asked one. That's okay if it's a good one. You know, it's worth talking about. But do you think the latest surge in players could be a problem for PokeMMO with Nintendo? I don't think so. I don't think any surge of players. I don't think there's anything right now that would throw PokeMMO over the line where like Nintendo would be like, okay, it would have to be like Nintendo coming out with their own Pokemon MMO, number one. This is all we're also all assuming. For those who don't know, PokeMMO actually, I'm no lawyer. I have a video talking about it, my understanding, my layman understanding. I have a video called Will PokeMMO Ever Get Shut Down, which talks about it. From my understanding, PokeMMO is fully legally sound. There is no grounds for copyright. They do not provide any of the Nintendo assets. We are providing our own things. Think of it as PokeMMO is essentially a fancy emulator, and emulators themselves aren't illegal. Illegally stealing online games, online ROMs, that's the illegal part. So don't do that, and no PokeMMO player would ever do that. We all just use the fancy emulator, right, to play our game. That's our legally owned copies. Now, so legally we should be fine. However, I've always qualified and said, you know what, I think if Nintendo wanted to take down PokeMMO truly, if they wanted to throw a bunch of assets at it, they probably could war of attrition them in court. Once again, I'm no lawyer, please take everything I could say with a massive grain of salt. I could see that, but there's not really a reason for them to do that, and I don't think a surge of new players is that reason. I think it would take something like them wanting to create their own MMO, so therefore like competitive market space, or like PokeMMO advertising. That's a big one. I think that's a big reason why PokeMMO doesn't advertise officially and why it relies on word of mouth, content creators, etc. I think official advertisements could possibly cross that line, but I also could be wrong. Once again, that's just my thoughts as a player. All right, my Flygon is done. I can go ahead and throw that over in the PC. These are all my Heatran raid Pokemon that are completed. You need more than 6, or at least I want to have more than 6 for a complete, like, options of being a different slot in the fight. Next up is Garchomp, and Garchomp needs... he needs Dig and Earthquake. It's so interesting that the Heatran strat, at least one of them, there's multiple strats, uses Dig. I think it's so cool, man. It's one of those things that makes me want to gush about, like, I think it's really cool how PokeMMO makes it so non-traditional Pokemon things are useful, right? We see things like Prankster Sableye and Prankster Whimsicott being really, really good in raids to set up stuff like that, right? The fact that we get to see things like Dig being used in a high-level PVM activity, that's crazy. Like, that's really fucking cool to me. So we go ahead and we do we shouldn't need Outrage is terrible, we don't need that. We'll do Earthquake and Dig. I think I will go ahead and teach it over Bulldoze. Sure, there we go, just like that. So there we go. Now I believe that's all I needed for the Garchomp. 31 attack, 31 speed, plus attack nature. I think we should be good. Adamant nature, plus attack, not jolly. I think the Garchomp is done. Only 2 more Pokemon, Pelipper and Politoed, left to finish. All right, the last 3 things I need are a Weather Ball TM, Heart Scales to relearn Brine on my Pelipper, and then 1 ability pill. I'm going to buy a few ability pills. I find myself coming back to the shop all the time, and I have enough Pokeyen to where it's fine. I can go ahead and stock up a little bit on ability pills. Did I just... Okay, there we go. So this I need to put on Pelipper to teach it Drizzle. Drizzle's obviously super, super important. There we go. We can go ahead and unlock that. Beautiful, beautiful. Do I need one on this? I don't think so. This is supposed to have Drizzle. Yep, perfect. Okay. Next up is Heart Scales to relearn Brine. We can go do that really, really quick. You can always check how a Pokemon learns a move over in the Pokedex. So, for example, I didn't know if Brine was a TM or relearnable, so I went over and I checked, and it is relearnable. You can see here if it learns it naturally, you can use Heart Scales to teach it, versus Weather Ball on Politoed was TMable. So I had to scroll down. It's all alphabetized, so start a W, and you see Weather Ball there. So it's a good way to check. You can check. I have a video talking about this. You can check how to teach any Pokemon any move it can learn in PokeMMO. All that information is in the Pokedex, which is super nice. This is a great question. Someone asked for any tips to beat the Elite Fours in PokeMMO. Not for reruns, but for your first time. I have a video on it called 3 Tips to Beat the Elite Four, and 2 out of 3 of those tips are accurate. One of them is no longer working. One of them was Aftermath plus Rocky Helmet. And then you would spam revives to basically like force damage onto your opponent's Pokemon, onto the Elite Four. If you had to like force through the Elite Four, you could do that, but it was a last resort kind of thing. Now they limited the amount of items you can use in a fight in PokeMMO in the storyline to 4 items per fight, right? So you can't do that anymore. The other recommendation I would give in 2025, the other tip I would give is Intimidate. Intimidate is super powerful. I used it recently in my Unova storyline guide, which will be releasing this weekend, which is awesome. But specifically, having like 2 Intimidate Pokemon to switch between is really, really good. Now, you can't over rely on it because the AI is smart in PokeMMO. They'll just switch out if you like lower their attack to like -6 or whatever. But if you like get it to -2, they usually won't switch out. And it'll put you in a position to go ahead -2 attack your opponent's Pokemon, and then allows you to like set up Dragon Dance or set up your Crocodile or do any X items, or it allows you to set up and then sweep. So Intimidate is the new trick that I would, and that's an old trick, but a new tip that I'd recommend if I were to make that video again in 2025. It's a great question. All right, here's Brine on my Pelipper. It's going to cost me 2 Heart Scales. That is A-okay. We're going to teach it over Toxic. Shouldn't need that in raids at all. I'll keep a stack of Heart Scales on me just in case. But I think that's our Pelipper done. He was taught Brine. He has Drizzle now. I believe he's EV trained correctly. I'll double check really quick, but I think he is also complete. He's at the bottom, so it's hard to see. Drizzle, timid. Oh no, for my Pelipper. Modest. Yep, he's done. He needs Choice Scarf. Pelipper is done. I'll throw him in the box. Only one Pokemon left. It's just putting Weather Ball on Politoed, boys. It's huge. This is a great question. Hey, Pat, any moveset recommendations for catching? I made the mistake of buying Smeargle with Soak, not realizing Soak Netball doesn't work in this game. Part about unlucky timing. Soak Netball just got nerfed like 3 months ago, man. That is... Now, Soak is still a great move. Don't feel too bad about it. Soak is still a phenomenal move in PokeMMO. You can soak Ghost types and be able to False Swipe them and be able to catch them better. You can soak Grass types, like Bulbasaur is a big one. Lower level Grass types turn into a Water type, allow you to Spore it to help catch them properly. Also, soaking Ghost types so they can't Curse is a really underrated one. If a Ghost type uses Curse, it halves its HP and like will continuously kill itself over time, right? Which is really, really scary when trying to catch a Ghost Shiny. If you soak it, it just lowers its speed and raises attack and defense. So soaking Ghost types for that reason. Soak is still really powerful. Now, in terms of an optimal catching Pokemon, in my opinion, I stand by this. I mean, it's right here. And don't, the IVs in nature, I mean, I would go for a plus attack nature. This is not ideal, but I've had this one since 2021 and it's worked perfectly, right? But I recommend Adamant, Lonely, Naughty, something like that. Not Brave for the most part, but 2v2 attack EVs, 2v2 speed. Look at my IVs. They're not great, but it works. It works, man. You know, you don't need perfection for catching Pokemon. I swear by this moveset. False Swipe, Spore, Substitute, and then you can do Strength, Seed Bomb, Mach Punch. You could do a few options here. I like the Strength for the HM flexibility, but I have an HM. I have a Strength Ocarina now, so I probably should switch this to like Seed Bomb or whatever. And then Poison Heal and Toxic Orb. This is really, really, really good. So Substitute plus Poison Heal plus Spore, right? These 3 moves allow, if you're like fighting, I use this against alphas all the time. If I need to like stall till turn 10 to get an alpha or whatever, I basically go ahead and I Spore the alpha. I set up Substitute. You get 1 guaranteed turn of sleep. And as long as you can like Spore it and outspeed it, you can infinitely sustain HP. You will literally gain HP over time. It's impossible to lose HP like that. So like it's like the perfect, as long as you outspeed the alpha. I super recommend. I love Breloom with this moveset. I just, a lot of people don't run Substitute, and I think it's a mistake. I think it makes fights almost impossible to lose against legendaries, against alphas. It's so like fail safe. All right, and with this Weather Ball TM being taught over to my Pelipper, we're done, fellas. This is the final move I need to learn. All of my Heatran raid prep is done. I can just attempt the raid tomorrow, the most difficult PVM challenge in PokeMMO. I'm nervous about it, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna learn by trying kind of guy, and I think if I've got to lose to learn, I got to do it. So we're gonna start tomorrow, regardless of if I have to solo queue or whatever happens. We're gonna try it, okay? I'm gonna go get ready to shiny hunt. We're heading over to Frillish today, and I'm feeling good today. I feel like today could be a nice little time swipe horde shiny. All right, someone actually asked, what prizes do you get from winning tournaments? In PokeMMO and PvP, you can get like really good, like 3x31 shinies, 6x31 competitive Pokemon, free RP. That's just for PvP tournaments, which happen every single day, automated in-game. You can use the in-game PvP tournament sign up to keep an eye on that. But catch events are also open to everybody and like super casual friendly. It's a lot of RNG and consistency. For example, there is a Meowth catch event coming up on April 25th, with a shiny Meowth prize. So if you just show up, you catch some Pokemon, hopefully get a high IV one, submit it to the staff. I have a video, if you've never done a catch event before, a guide to catch events, as well as some tips and tricks to catch events, as well as a April 27th catch event on Sunday that has a shiny Spinnerack prize. If you want details on both these catch events, they are on the PokeMMO forums. If you go over to the PokeMMO forums, go to official events, and then you should be able to find these in that one page. So check out these. I think keeping an eye on upcoming events in PokeMMO, catch events, PvP tournaments, whatever it may be, I think they are super under talked about content in the average like casual player space, because there's just so many amazing prizes, and catch events are just good fun. You usually make Pokeyen if you're like false swipe Pokeballing. You're making Pokeyen on top of having a chance at winning a free shiny, which could take 30 to 100 hours to go for normally, right? Like a Meowth shiny, Usually you're like time swipe horde hunting that at the Ponyta spot, so it's split. That's like a 30 to 60 hour shunt on average. Same with like Spinnerack, but Spinnerack is usually a Leppa shunt, so that like you could like save a lot of time and money by winning some catch events. It takes a long time. Like I think my first catch event took me like 120 or so to win one, but then I won like 2 in a row, or like 2. So you know, best of luck to you guys. Just check them out. Catch events are a lot of fun and really good for every type of player. Yeah, someone asked, why am I leading with Kadabra? So I'm using Kadabra here because of Synchronize, which gives me a 20% chance to have the matched nature on the wild Pokemon. So when I eventually get the shiny Frillish, there's a 20% chance that it's bold, which is what I want, the nature that I want. Now, I do prefer a male Frillish here since it has a more teal cyan color versus the purple of the female shiny. I do like purple shinies. I just have a lot of purple shinies, and cyan and like teal shinies are a bit rarer, which is why I want the male Frillish. But the reason I'm not using Cute Charm to increase the odds of the male is because I could just breed up the IVs, make it competitive, keep the good nature, and I could just pay 5,000 Pokeyen to change the gender. So that's an easy fix, right? I use, depending on whether you want to use Synchronize or Cute Charm at, you know, shiny hunts, usually time swipe hordes. If you're single encounter, you want like Illuminate, No Guard, one of those arena trap type abilities. But for time swipe hordes, deciding between Synchronize and Cute Charm is really up to you and what you want. Do you even like, a lot of people, I mean, I do this a lot of people like catch shinies and they don't want to breed them up to make them competitive. They don't want to, which I do a lot of times, right? For that, you might maybe just want like a Cute Charm, or you want like something else. You know, if you don't want to rebreed them, you may not want to Synchronize, right? But to decide between, for me personally, if something is a 100%, I usually go Synchronize. Like this Frillish is a 100% spot. If something is 50-50 or it's a split horde and the different species don't require the same stats, that's when I go Cute Charm. A really good example of this is Jinx and Delibird, right? I really want shiny Delibird, but it's split with Jinx, and I've already gotten one Jinx there, unfortunately, which is going to happen, right? I can't go, like if I were to go, I would want a physical Delibird, like an Adamant Nature Delibird. But if I synchronize Adamant or Jolly Nature, if I randomly roll the Jinx and that Jinx comes out Adamant or Jolly, well, now it's even more useless, right? So at a spot where like you have a special attacker and a physical attacker, I usually just use Cute Charm. The same thing is true for like Tauros. Tauros is a physical Pokemon, but it's split with like Gloom, which is a special attacking Pokemon. So like generally you want to go like Cute Charm at those spots that have weird species if they don't share the same stats. But if it's a 100% spot, I usually just go Synchronize. Yeah, someone was saying it's crazy the cheapest Dome Fossil right now is 15k or 14k. Yeah, 15k each. Dude, I think it was a big team. I was gonna say, yeah, Team Pori, a big team right now is either their Shiny War either just finished or they're in the middle of it. It is really, really good how much Shiny Wars affect the market, right? It's easy to be like I myself as a shunter, right? I could sit here and be like, oh, I hate that fossils are so expensive now, darn. But in reality, it's like, oh shit, fossils are more expensive. That's going to sink them. There's more demand. It's going to sink more of them out of the game. It's going to make it so that players, newer players, the intermediate players who need to make Pokeyen can fossil farm for Pokeyen and make even more. Like that's... Shiny wars are so good for like stimulating the economy. Shiny hunters are crazy, you know, guilty, right? When it comes to like, we are so willing to dump our entire Pokeyen stack for the competitiveness of a shiny war, which I think is beautiful. And it fucking helps the economy, man. It's awesome to see and call out when it's happening. Shout out to Team Pori. Okay, this is what I understood as well. Yes, so PokeMMO staff member Park is confirming in chat. We're talking about Shiny Wars, and he said, I was like, I don't want to probe, I don't want to like pressure you, I don't want you to get you in trouble. He said it's coming. The official PokeMMO Shiny War is planned. And that's, yeah, it's public knowledge that we're planning to do it every year. That was my understanding as well. But with PokeMMO staff and devs, I know that plans can change. So it's nice to hear the confirmation of you guys are actively working on, it seems, the second official PokeMMO Shiny Wars. I'm really fucking excited for that. I feel like that will take over. I love Team Wars and I love Team Mr. Wars, and there's just a different vibe. But official wars every year really changes, in my opinion, the way we approach those other wars and like the way a shiny hunter acts, right? Yeah, not sure on any dates yet. No ETA, no dates. Yep, but it's hopefully, it seems like official Shiny War number 2 is coming, fellas. I gotta start prepping. I gotta start spending some Pokeyen, prepping fossils, making some Pokeyen back, etc., etc. There's a lot to do. Do you think there could be any other Team Wars sort of that isn't shiny based? They do PvP team tournaments, and they've done that since 2013. There's already been a mass PvP team tournament. That's kind of like the Super Bowl of PokeMMO for the last 10 years. I mean, longer than that, 13, 12 years, right? In terms of, is it possible to do something like, we have PvP, we have shiny hunting. Is it possible to do a team-based activity that's like, they did a catch event. It wasn't team-based, but they did a long-term catch event, a seasonal catch event last year. So PokeMMO is continuously toying with the idea of doing these big events in the game instead of just having to rely on holiday events and like in-game physical updates. I love the idea of using the content we already have in creative ways. In my opinion, PokeMMO is more of a sandbox game than an RPG. Maybe it's such a sandbox in my opinion. There is the systems that exist, like battle tower, like raids, like just catching Pokemon and battling. The systems are amazing. Let's use these systems in creative ways to make our own fun content. I think, yeah, community events, like bigger long-term ones, have been amazing. Pat, if you were only able to shunt one Pokemon for the rest of your life, what would it be? First, I think you have to decide like method of hunt, and I think I would go single encounter just because anything else would probably drive me crazy, right? When you're single encountering, you have a chance for multiple different Pokemon. Like if I'm single encountering at Route 210, I could get Sudowoodo, I could get Ponyta, I could get, you know, Roselia, like Scyther, Breloom, Mr. Mime, Staravia. There's a ton of different Pokemon to get, a ton of different shinies, a ton of different versions, and you also have secret shiny chance, right? If I picked like Frillish and I'm just doing ×5 hordes, I would not want to do ×5 hordes for the rest of my life, honestly. I would probably, if I were to only shunt one spot for the rest of my life, I would want to pick the most interesting spot to keep it like spicy. This sounds fucked up, but I think that if I could only shiny hunt one spot for the rest of my life, I'd probably pick the Hoenn Safari Zone over at like Shuckle's location. I would like smash the rocks, head below, and then run back and forth for like Apom, Miltank. Altering Cave is a cool answer as well. Altering Cave is a pretty cool one. I wish they like updated it more, but that is a cool like one shutting location for the rest of your life. I would get sad inside the cave. I like the grass greenery of like the Safari Zone. It's a good question. This is a good question. Someone said, how many encounters dry will you be when the next official war releases? I tried it. Now, it's not relevant. Keep in mind that mathematically and logically, it does not matter how many encounters you have. Like, if I was 100k dry, it does not change my rate. It's still 100. It's still, my shiny rate is still 1 out of 30k. Physically, the number does not change. However, shiny hunters are superstitious, and most most shunners, I try to be usually at around 30,000 encounters when I start a shiny war or an event. I like to get my number up. It's not logically means nothing, but if whatever emotionally helps you get through the day and helps you get more encounters, that's all that matters with shunning. It's good to acknowledge, hey, this is like a fallacy that I'm giving into to like promote progress, you know? Because somebody that's like trick yourself in life to make progress, and if that works and you logically separate the two and understand that, so it's a good tactic in my opinion. Brother, is your donor status on? No, you reminded me. Thank you so much. I did actually mean to buy it. Now, to be honest, I always say you don't need to pop Dono, you don't need to shunt with Dono, etc., etc. There's actually a good question. Do I want to pop Dono right now? It's actually something I should think about. You don't need it. I am doing Frillish, doing ×5 hordes. How much I'm going to be shutting over the next few months? I don't think I'm going to. I actually was planning on going to today, but I think I'm going to not, because you don't need it. It saves a few hours. It's not a big deal. Yeah, Dono's it's not really a scam, but like it's not. I want to show people it's not as important as you may think it may be. It's nice long term if you make enough Pokeyen to sustain it and stuff, but you just don't need Dono, you know? Sometimes you got to just raw dog it. So we're just going to go for it, see if I can get a 1 out of 30k pure odds shiny. I think there's a good discussion to be had here. Danny, who's like a really, really high-end prolific shunter in PokeMMO, says that he personally believes that, you know, egging is kind of pay to win. I get what you're saying. I think fossils and mysterious balls are arguably like decently pay to win, unfortunately. I wish fossils especially weren't, because it's a really cool method. Egging, I feel like most of the effort comes from the egging and not the actual like money making, but we can just run the math, right? Yeah, fossils a little bit. I think mysterious balls are the worst offender. I don't think eggs are pay to win. I think the money it takes longer to. I think it takes longer to shiny hunt the egg than to actually get the Pokeyen, from my end. But let's do the math. It's 150 mil on average per egg hunt. You would do that divided by 300k. So it takes around 500 hours. Which is a lot. Like 500 hours to get the the Pokeyen for the egg hunt, and then like 1,000 to do the hunt. So it's like when I say egging's a 1,000-hour hunt, I probably should say 1,500. I think the money to get should be factored in. So like, I would say egging's around a 1,500-hour-ish hunt. Like it's I used to say like it was a 2K hour hunt for a while, but that was before they buffed the speed. For clarity, I do not at all think that hatching counts as effort. I think it does. My last 25K eggs were all hatched while playing a different game, but that's still, I mean, there's plenty of jobs that people work where you can do it like in the background. I think the patience to hatch, I think it is effort, absolutely, personally. Hatching takes no skill, agreed. But I disagree actually. It's less mechanical skill than like PvP or raiding or whatever, but it's the same of like someone who like tick perfect hatches eggs is going to perform like 80% better than someone who doesn't, right? Like it's a massive difference. It's the same thing with like ×5 hordes, right? Someone who like is able to do ×5 hordes, like tick perfect and like efficiently for like 1 year versus someone who does it like 80% efficiently, which is still very good. Those two people are gonna have a difference of like 20 OT shinies by the end of the year. Like, I think people, I know this from RuneScape. People in PokeMMO, I think, super underestimate the gap, the difference of like being like 80 to 90% efficient, which I think the average player is, maybe even less, versus like the 100% efficient player. You know, the person who is getting their eggs over in their party like as soon as possible, versus the person who is like playing a different game and hatching. And like, I think it has to be factored in. You know. Pick perfect and being on top of things is long term, in my opinion, is a skill. But I understand the disagreement with that. I'm just definitely sharing my take. It can definitely be a huge buff if you pay to win while egging, but I don't think it inherently makes it pay to win. I agree. I've always said that in Pokemon, in most video games, there's pay for advantage and there's pay to win, right? Pay to win is like you can literally credit card swipe and like get the top gear, like skip hundreds of thousands of hours, like pay to win is like really powerful, right? Pay for advantage, it is, in my opinion, things like paying for donator status off the gift shop with like real money. I buy mine with Pokeyen, which is fine, but you know, if you like, I think if you're buying donator status every month, I think that's paying for advantage. If you're swiping credit cards to get shiny charms or RP vouchers to like sell for Pokeyen to buy fossils, I think it's paying for advantage. That's not a bad thing. Paying for advantage is how the game servers stay up and how the devs get paid. I think paying for advantage is fine. I don't personally do it. I've spent $10 on PokeMMO in, you know, 12 years. I'm probably underpaid for my 9,000 hours of entertainment, honestly. But I think it's really important to draw the distinction between pay for advantage versus pay to win, in my opinion. You know, I think mysterious balls are pay to win because you can credit card swipe a ridiculous at like thousands of dollars, but then you could get a not guaranteed, but like almost guaranteed or shiny on average. Let's say if you credit card swipe with mysterious balls and you buy a bunch of mysterious ultra balls from 2023, you on average get a shiny in an hour and a half, which makes me want to throw up a little bit in my mouth, right? The fact that prior to mysterious balls existing, the shortest shiny hunt in PokeMMO was ×5 hordes with Dono and Charm, which was like a 1 out of 24,000 shiny rate. The fact that this makes it 1 out of 2,500 plus Dono and Charm, it brings it down to like 1 out of 1,900. You can pop like 1,200 an hour or 1,400 an hour, so you literally can get a shiny in an hour and a half by credit card swiping. I think that makes me sad. I've always been outspokenly against mysterious balls. I think that's pay to win. When you take a shunt from 24 hours to an hour and a half, that's pay to win to me. If you can credit card swipe and save a bit of time with Pokeyen, I think it's pay for advantage, but people should do that if they want to as well, you know. But it's an important distinction to talk about for sure. Dude, there's a really good argument here. I don't know if I necessarily disagree with it just because of the time factor, but there's a really good argument here. Danny says, I think that fossils are honestly more pay to win than mysterious balls. Bro's dropping the hot takes today. They are slower, yes, but you're guaranteed a rare versus most mysterious balls giving you like the best mysterious balls, like a 20% chance at a rare. I get what you're saying, you know, but I think Xanarchy said it. My counter would be like it cost. I think Xanarchy just said it takes like 30 hours, 34 hours, 30 something hours to pop all the fossils if you have that many fossils, which, you know, is a lot of fossils to have. Versus if it's 20% chance for a rare, but it's guaranteed 20% chance for a rare with mysterious balls. If it's an hour and a half, it would be an hour and a half times 90 minutes times 5, right? So it'd be 450 minutes divided by 60. So it would still be like 7.5 hours versus 34 or whatever. But yeah, I you know, but I get it. I get there is an argument there. That would cost so much more US dollars, like egregiously more, to swipe that many mysterious balls for 7.5 hours versus fossil for that amount of time. There's good argument. This is a good. I much prefer this deep, like complicated, like super hyper high end discussion of the philosophies behind shunting and microtransactions in PokeMMO versus talking about when's Gen 6 for the 20th time. Or not, sorry, 2000th time, not 20th, excuse me. Did the price of fossils change massively? The economy surrounding fossils have changed a lot over the past 1 year. The reason why fossils have changed so much over the past year is because I think almost, so in my opinion, official shiny war. I think that's it. I genuinely think the only reason, well, sorry, two reasons. The fossil buff. It's the buff and shiny wars. But official shiny wars, like, it is so powerful and so good to stock up on fossils. I think it stimulated that economy so much, and like took the fossils used to be like 6,000 Pokeyen at their cheapest. Maybe like I've never seen, yeah, I've never seen them now they're like 9k, 8k. Sometimes you'll see some 7k, but like, yeah, I think the official war during team shiny wars, it would usually spike up fossils, but I think now with I think because of official shiny war happening every year, and it's a competition that brings the entire community together, I kind of think that high-end shunters are buying fossils year-round. I think high-end, this most serious of the serious shiny war, official war shunters, I think they spend all year now passively buying fossils and stocking up. I think that's the strat, which is, it's kind of weird and wonky, right? Yeah, people are saying, I agree. I kind of hope we see a fossil nerf for official shiny wars. I agree. I'm hoping fossils get nerfed into the ground for Shiny War 2025. I don't know about into the ground, but I would like to see them. I know, like, it's really interesting how much we learned last year for the first ever war. Everybody, I was the leader of this, I think, in my opinion, movement. I was really bummed when Mysterious Balls were allowed in official war. Everybody thought that Mysterious Balls being allowed in official war, myself included, would like undermine the integrity. Like, I thought that it was still gonna be a fun war. There's a lot of people who didn't participate in the China war because they thought Mysterious Balls undermined the competition too much. Little did we know, Mysterious Balls actually ended up being dog shit. And they were like actually really bad. Yeah, they were really fast, but the cost was so great that it was better to do fossils. It was so much better. Fossils and Shedinja were like insanely, yeah, 5k USD was spent for 5 points during last war. Yes, which is horribly. If you spent that on Shedinja or you spent that on fossils, you would have been way more ahead, you know? People realized, I think eventually people realized that like fossils were the best strat in that war. So it was really interesting to see how much we just didn't know and didn't learn until we got the best shunners in the game all together. And we pursuing the most efficient strategy taught us a ton about the game. It was super cool. There was a lot of problems with last shiny war. I'm excited. I think a lot of them are fixable. Last year, Cryogonal Wars, Cubchoo Wars, that was the nickname because that spot was way too good. I think this year is going to be so much better. It's not going to be 2 months because last year 2 months was insane. It's not going to be 2 months. The spots are going to be more balanced. Fossils, hopefully, you know, better balance. I think this year will be so much better. I'm really excited. And I think something last year was good, but it had glaring problems that were easy to fix. It's better to have glaring problems that are easy to fix in a system than everybody playing the game feel like shit and not know why, right? That's way worse. So I'm excited to see how this year Shiny Wars rolls around. God damn it, dude. One message in chat just fully convinced me to pop Thunder status. The reason why I am going to pop Thunder status, someone said, just out of curiosity, can Heatran be shiny? Yes, he can. And in my opinion, it's worth to pop. I'm going to pop Shiny Charm and Thunder status for the Heatran raid tomorrow. So if I'm going to pop it for tomorrow, I might as well pop it now, you know? So I've been convinced. You guys Dono pilled me. There we go. There it is. Boom. We're going to increase our shiny odds. We're pay to win. Cringe. Hey, Pat, I've been talking with some other guys about how we almost have a baby boom generation of players who started when Johto came out who are now turning into experienced players. I agree with this so much. Do you think this is having an effect on the market prices of like Ditto Boxes, RP? Yeah, I could not agree with this more. Ditto Boxes, RP, since there are so many players making the transition into late game over the last few months. Yes. I think it's so interesting. Like, there's so many phases of the PokeMMO economy and market. I couldn't agree with this more. No, you're so correct. I feel like we literally are seeing like more players. We're seeing more players than ever transition into endgame, and I think it's unprecedented. We've never seen it before, and I hope it's maybe somewhat due to my content and more. Also, just like, I mean, PokeMMO. We asked PokeMMO to make raids for years, or some sort of thing like raids, and the reason why we asked them to do that for so long was because we thought that it would help transition players into the end game. It would give people a direct goal, an end game PvM activity to do, and I think it's fucking working. I think it might be working. I think it's beautiful to see, man. There's so many rough things and negatives in the world right now. PokeMMO is doing well, man. I can't wait for permanent raids. I think permanent raids are going to be so... I'm really excited. It could go... I'm just optimistic. I hope it goes well. I think the average person needs... The average player who doesn't watch YouTube, watch guides, watch content surrounding, who's just playing the game on their own for fun, which is what I did in 2013, right? That average player just needs something in-game to draw... to give a goal, give a draw, give a directive, a little bit of a guide, a little bit more guiding. I'm so excited. PokeMMO's future looks so fucking bright right now. I'm excited for the summer update with the VGC coming. I'm excited for Shiny Wars. I'm just really excited for the future, man. The fucking game looks bright as hell right now, in my opinion. Yo, just started playing again, PokeMMO. I restarted with Generation 1. Any tips for early game XP grind? The easiest tip to help everybody with the storyline, if you're like, because the XP curve can be a little frustrating. You solve almost everything if you just fight every trainer, right? In traditional Pokemon, I feel like the goal is to like dodge as many trainers as possible and you get plenty of XP and you just like steamroll, right? In PokeMMO, if you just fight every single trainer, your curve will be perfect. You'll be good. You shouldn't need to like XP train almost at all other than that, right? You get boosted XP rates if you fight trainers. You get like what's called like bonus trainer XP. So it is actually more beneficial and effective to fight trainers than it is wild Pokemon. So you really just want to don't skip trainers. Like, you'll regret it later on. Just fight every single trainer and you should be like 90%. You may need to grind for XP for like 1 extra hour over an entire storyline if you just fight every trainer. It's the easiest hack for storylines. All right, but that's going to be the perfect spot to go ahead and call it for today. Thank you guys for watching the stream recap. As per usual, I really hope you enjoyed. I really enjoyed today's stream. We had a ton of really fun and interesting, like pretty deep conversation, which I think is important when playing a pretty like philosophical game, as cringe as it sounds, in Pokemon. When you spend so much time on something, you just want to understand why you do it. And I think that's really, really important. You should ask yourself why you play any game or why you do things in life. So hopefully you're having a beautiful day. Hopefully you understand why you do things. And thank you for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. Follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. I'll be doing the Heatran raid tomorrow. Discord is down below if you're interested in joining a really cool community that loves PokeMMO. And if you want to go above and beyond to support the content, YouTube membership, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo donations do allow me to be here in the first place. And I couldn't do this without you guys' support. And I just thank you guys so much. Everybody who supports gets their name at the end of each video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Good luck on your shiny hunts. Have fun playing PokeMMO. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, Reno. Yo, Patrouski here, and I wanted to thank you personally for watching the video until the very end. I really, really appreciate that. And if your name is on this list, thank you to the moon and back, because you allow me to even make these videos by supporting the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.